just around this time period, right? Like when you were in the Philippines, this is when you started to get into video creation, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think I actually, how extra I am, John. So I started my vlog on my birthday in 2018, about 2 months before I went and left for the Philippines. And so I started my vlog then, and I talked about what I wanted to accomplish with it. I originally wanted it to be a daily vlog, sort of like Casey Neistat style
Mm-hmm.
vlogs, just about my daily life and stuff. But after I got to the Philippines, I started to make different kind of content. And obviously, I mean, everything that you do becomes content. It seems like, and I think that can be used as a tool for good, and it can also go too far. And that's a whole other thing we could talk about too, John. Is like I see a lot of times people um, make content out of something that they shouldn't be making content about. It's like, no, you should let them that person keep their privacy, or you shouldn't talk about the life lessons you learned from someone's death. No, you shouldn't talk about that. Like, let them rest in peace. Certain stuff like that. I digress. So it's only natural that I decided to start making videos about the Philippines because I live there and I was noticing things and I wanted to talk about certain things. And one of the videos that I made that originally sort of went sort of viral was this video the headline was Mindanao is not dangerous. So, looking back on that, I should have maybe tweaked that headline a bit. But what I was trying to say was there's a lot of, like, when you go to the Philippines, Mindanao is this island, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know. Mindanao is sort of like the southernmost island in the Philippines, and it's quite large. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's actually been some terrorist activity in Mindanao, in Marawi to be exact. And so the whole island sort of gets a bad reputation. And even when you buy a ticket to go there, like, there's travel advisories like, do not go there. Like, we recommend you strongly do not go there. And so when I'm an American, who's never been to the Philippines, looking at that, I'm like scared to death. But I had my girl who I met in Salt Lake City. She was like, "It's fine, Tom. It's fine. Just come here. You'll see checkpoints, but it's fine." And so, sure enough, I went there and had a great time, and I felt completely safe. There was like no fighting. It was like, it's just like people just living their lives. So I made a video about that and how, like, there's this, it's not quite what they say it is in the media. Like, Mindanao is not that dangerous. There's just a lot of people out living their lives, and I felt safe as an American. I'm a walking target, for like anything to happen to me. You know what I mean? So, and I felt completely safe. And so I made a video about that, and I think it got like 100,000 views or something like that. And I'll never forget that the shares going up and stuff. And I was just like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, I basically wrote a blog post, but excuse me, I made a video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to think about, what if I write my scripts before I make my videos, so I can get my ideas out in an entertaining way, in a logical way, and then make my videos and see what happens. So in some ways, my YouTube channel, my Facebook page was just like a visual blog. And then after I started to make more content about the Philippines, I was like, okay, well, I should probably like keep making content about the Philippines because my audience is from there, and I have a lot to say, and I've had friends from the Philippines for a long time. I've been interested in the culture for a long time before I started vlogging. The reason why I'm in the Philippines in the first place is because I'm interested in the Philippines, And so I just started to make more videos about it, and I went down that rabbit hole. And it wasn't until a couple years later where I started to feel guilty about that for a few reasons that we could get into if you want to. But I felt guilty about making content about the Philippines later on because I saw how some creators, myself included, to be completely honest with you, were sort of using Filipino content to get more views,
Mm-hmm.
and without really, I mean, I cared about the Philippines, obviously, but like, I don't know, a lot of it seemed disingenuous. And so, you know, anyway, I'm going down a whole other rabbit hole there, John, but yeah, that's when I started, making videos about the Philippines back then.
Yeah, there's like a couple things I'm like trying to make mental notes about in terms of what I want to ask you. But since we're already going down this route, let's touch on it, because I think I remember when I reached out to you, this is what I had brought up. I had come across your video about the concept of Pinoybaiting, and it was so fascinating to me as somebody who works in marketing, that concept, and it makes total sense to me, like what is going on there, because and people who are not necessarily from the Philippines, they may not know this, but the Philippines has historically been one of the most technologically engaged countries in the entire world. I can remember going to the Philippines with my dad when I was a teenager, and they were by far ahead of us when it came to texting. Like, they were always texting, always on their cell phones. So as technology has evolved, obviously, like their engagement with technology has also grown more attached as well. And so the point that I'm trying to make here is Filipinos are constantly on their phones, looking at Facebook, looking at social media. And so you brought up this, you pointed this out and brought this to light, is this concept of Pinoy baiting and creating content that really targets that Filipino audience, because there's a knowledge there that, hey, all these Filipinos, they're always on their cell phones, and we know that we can pop off, we can get like 1 million views because like 1 million Filipinos are gonna watch this video.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's sort of where I actually sort of read a tweet by this person on Twitter called M.A. Buendia, and he sort of talked about Pinoy baiting and talked about what it was and how, foreigners and media companies like Netflix even will sort of pander to a Filipino audience just because they know they can get more views, because they know that, so like there's this whole controversy about, I think Lucifer, this show Lucifer on Netflix. Mm-hmm. There's this one scene where he's speaking Tagalog, and a lot of people were sort of saying like, that's Pinoy baiting. Like, Netflix knows that people in the Philippines are, they probably have a lot of people in the Philippines who are watching Netflix, and they're probably pandering to them, or, there's maybe a market there that there's not a lot of Filipinos watching Netflix. And if they put this clip on social media, it'll get shared, and then more people will want to like get Netflix so they can see that particular scene, and whatever. And even with Money Heist, one of the main characters' names is Manila in the latest season. And so, I mean, just little things like that. I don't, but I don't really blame Netflix for that, honestly. I think the worst parts are the vloggers who, make just blatant like pandering to the Philippines and to Filipinos, and they, in their heart of hearts, like don't really love the country that much, or they don't really care that much. And like, this is such an interesting conversation to have, because a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about this. And I think that at the end of the day, I think that there's pretty good arguments all the way around. Some people would say, well, they're still promoting our country. Okay. Some people would say they're still promoting positivity. Okay. That's good too. At least they're not being negative. At least they're not like putting negative vibes out into the universe. But it's sort of like, if you say that, you sort of can't say, like, you want people to be genuine with you at all times, right? Like, if someone's lying to you, you're not going to like that. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, unless you're watching WWE. In that case, you're good with them lying to you, because it's all fake, But the presupposition that this stuff is genuine from these creators, I don't know. I feel like it causes some problems, and I feel like, why do you care so much about people being genuine and real and truthful with you in every other aspect of your life? But when it comes to the entertainment you watch, you don't care. You don't care if they're not genuine. You don't care if they don't really care about you. you know. And here's just one other little aspect to this that I think is interesting. Like when you have such a big audience, when you grow really big on social media and stuff, and you start to make money from your content, it sort of like becomes a responsibility for you as a creator to, like, I don't know, create positive change, to you wield an audience of hundreds of thousands of people, sometimes millions of people. That's an incredible responsibility. And you sort of owe it to your audience, the people that watch you, to help them in some way, because they helped you get to where you are. And like when you just, I don't know, it's hard. When I walk around the Philippines, I see, you know, obviously you're going to see poverty and stuff. I see problems. I've lived there for like a couple years now. I love the country. I love the people there. I naturally want to help them. So like, why wouldn't I talk about different ways that, you know, maybe you could help someone, or maybe raise money for, you know, people in need, especially during the pandemic, or like raise money for people that have flooding because of like a typhoon, you know? I don't know. I don't really see those creators doing that much. A lot of these Filipino creators doing that, you know, and I feel like that's a problem. It's, you know, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but I just think that there's a responsibility that you should have as a creator.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching this excerpt of the Videocraft show presented by Video Husky. If you're a content creator that struggles to organize scripture ideas for your videos, I've got a resource for you. You can get a copy of our free script template. Using it can help you structure your videos and save you hours of time from filming in the process. To get it, all you have to do is just scroll down on this video, find the link in the description, and subscribe to our email list. From there, it'll get delivered straight to your inbox right after you sign up. And by the way, if you're enjoying these videos, can you do us just a quick favor and hit the like button before you go? And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel too, to stay up to date with all the content that we're creating here on this channel. And finally, be sure to tune into the Videocraft show presented by Video Husky on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. We've got links in the description down below. If you want to watch or listen to the full episode, just tap the video right next to me over here, and that'll take you to the entire episode in which this excerpt is from. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.